schools. Did you guys know that in 2011, 45% of pregnancies were unplanned? That's 2.8 million pregnancies in the United States. Now, a pregnancy being unplanned either means that it was mistimed, which in the future they wanted to get pregnant, but it was just bad timing, or that they didn't want to get pregnant at all, which means it was unwanted. 42% of those pregnancies ended in abortion and 58% resulted in childbirth. So when you're walking down the street and you see someone that's pregnant, do you think, I wonder if that was meant to happen? I wonder, if they used a condom, that would never happen to me. You think these things, especially when the person getting pregnant is younger. It could happen to you, and if it did happen to you, would you guys be prepared? Were you properly educated to know what your options were and how to prevent it and be safe when you're having sex? So sex education is being prepared. You prepared for this speech, you prepare for any big decisions that you make throughout life. So why should sex be any different? So why is sex education important? Using contraceptions consistently, those women who use contraception consistently only accounted for 5% of unplanned pregnancies. The rest of the women who got pregnant either used it inconsistently or didn't use contraception at all. Only 27 states require that when sex ed is taught in schools, that they must meet certain requirements, and only 13 of those states information is medically accurate. So they're not even providing us with accurate information. They're just following the steps to meet the requirements and get it out of the way. In Arizona, it's required that schools stress abstinence only until marriage. They do not promote a positive view of homosexuality, and they're not required to talk about sex or contraception or condoms in any way. According to the National Survey of Family Growth in the U.S. government, pregnancy risk declined 25% from 2007 to 2011 due to the increased use of contraception. Whether that was condoms, birth control, any form, it declined the rate of pregnancies. Now when adults think that talking about sex to their kids at a young age will speed up the rate that they begin to have sex. That's not true. Sex consumes our media, whether it's movies, video games, music, or advertising. You see sex everywhere. And just because you're not talking about it with kids doesn't mean someone else isn't. It doesn't mean that they're not exposed to it. It's not too late to get educated for you or to educate someone else around you, whether it's coworker, friends, family, or siblings. Getting educated allows you to make safe, healthy choices, and it benefits everyone around you. There are a couple benefits to being proactive when it comes to sex. Unplanned pregnancies, you understand your options, and you understand the risks of being sexually active, which include sexually transmitted diseases, and of course, pregnancy. And you can also provide knowledge to others. And obviously, no one wants an STD, no one wants an unplanned pregnancy. It was unplanned. And you should know the effective ways to prevent that. According to Advocates for Youth, 94% of adults thought that sex education in schools should cover contraception. So why doesn't it? Many flaws in how we educate our youth have to do with sex education in schools. When curriculum supported by the U.S. Health Department analyzed the curriculum, 80% contained false information. The false information was information about contraception, false facts about abortion, false medical information, and using religious beliefs as facts. Schools are lacking to provide sex education and facts so students can make an informed decision about their lives. Now imagine a world where sex isn't thought to be bad. Sex isn't criminalized, it's not frowned upon to talk about, and students feel ready to make an educated decision when they're ready to have sex. And go back to when you were picking a college. Maybe some of you had multiple schools that you applied to, or maybe some of you knew you were going to ASU. Either way, you got educated. You learned about the schools, you went through the different aspects that were important to you. And so if ASU was your obvious choice, you had reasons why. Now imagine false information was given to you about each of these schools that you were thinking about. You wouldn't know what to expect, you wouldn't be able to prepare yourself, and you would probably pick the wrong school. And so why would we expect kids to make a decision about sex that way? Why would we send them in unprepared and unable to make a good decision? Unplanned pregnancies are often publicly funded due to low income being the highest rate of unplanned pregnancies. There's no reason to think that talking about sex earlier in our youth will allow them to have sex earlier. In fact, it often leads to them having sex at a later date and making safer and healthier decisions. You should also just get educated to make your own decision and be confident in what you decided. It's not too late. I know we're not in high school. I know none of us expect to have a sex education class soon, but there are still ways you can get educated and educate the people around you. Students have many worries on their day-to-day life, whether it's school, work, family, friends, and whether or not you're being safe when having sex shouldn't be one of them. A quote I wanted to share with you by Marcus Desaad is, "Sex is as important as eating or drinking, and we ought to allow the one opposite to be satisfied with as little restraint or false modesty as the other." And I think that's important. We put sex so high up there that we don't want to talk about it, and no one wants to talk about it, but when it comes down to it, it's still happening. So I want you guys to take some time to visit futureofsexed.org, advocatesforyouth.org, or gutmaker.org, and take some time, get educated, and just remember to make a safe decision.